The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host and their guests do not necessarily reflect those of ParaX, its affiliates, or its sponsors.
It's coming.
All these voices.
They're mine, he said. They're not yours. You had no right to them when you were alive, and you have no right to them when you're dead. Did he say Hershey? That's what it sounded like. Good, you know who I am. And you know I'm not playing. You're going to let those women go. In Jesus' name, you're going to let those women go.
Is there a demon here watching us right now? Watching us right now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Staring into the Abyss. I am your host, horror author James Hershey Jr., and with me, as always, my co-host, old boy James Ash. How you doing, brother?
Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone's having a good night.
Tonight's episode is going to be an interesting one. Tonight's another one that's kind of right out of the news of what's going on. There's been a lot of talk, and some people are calling this a conspiracy theory. Other people swear by it. There's been a lot of talk on whether or not the NFL is rigged. So that's the subject that we're going to be tackling tonight. I think on this one, I'm going to defer over to Old Boy first, because Old Boy is a massive sports fan. I mean, he is way into sports. He watches football, basketball, baseball, everything. I used to be a lot more into sports, but I don't watch a whole lot of it anymore. And I'll get into that when it's my turn. But I think on this one, we're going to go to him first. Old Boy, go ahead, brother.
And thank you, James. So this one's going to be a good one. It's going to be controversial a little bit because it's something that's being talked about all over the place right now, especially on social media after the Super Bowl. Is the NFL rigged? I'll get in that in a minute. What do you guys think? Leave in your comments. I have an opinion. I have an opinion on this. After watching years of sports, hockey, baseball, football, college football, basketball, college basketball, UFC, WWE, AEW, everything. I know this is a conspiracy theory going around about how the NFL is rigged. And I heard the NBA too is coming up now. A lot of people are saying the NBA is. And there's a little bit of truth on the NBA because the referee got caught and went to jail over that. He was fixing games. The one guy hated Tim Duncan. He said he used to call fouls on him purposely, and Kobe Bryant. Other guy was involved in the Sacramento Lakers series when the Lakers came back and won that game in the game 7, and they had like 40 fouls in one quarter, and the Lakers only had like 14 or something like that. And the guy got caught fixing the game because he won a bunch of money. Just like the Spurs game, he purposely called a foul on Tim. I guess there was a foul that he didn't call because he knew the Spurs weren't going to win. He had it betted against them, and then the Mavericks ended up winning this championship. There's all kinds of stories about that. I believe that happens. Pete Rose being caught betting on games, but I don't, with all the other stuff that's happened in baseball with steroids, I think there's, better things going on there. But, whatever. He broke the rules. It is what it is. I know a lot of people who like Pete Rose know what I'm talking about on that. I know you guys are going to trip out. Why the hell are you guys talking about sports? Okay, there's a conspiracy theory going around, and it's been going around for years, especially with the Patriots stuff and Tom Brady. It's a conspiracy, guys. We do conspiracies on here sometimes. So remember, it isn't just paranormal and history and monsters and UFOs. We also do stuff that's going and being talked about conspiracy-wise, because this is a conspiracy theory. It's going on. So now you guys, when you're watching this, you know what we're talking about. So I know there's going to be some biased people, but I'm going to tell you this, and I know I love the NFL, and I'm a Steelers fan, and I'm not doing this by a bias thing. I actually like Tom Brady. I think he's one of the greatest quarterbacks, or the greatest of all time. I do have an opinion on some of the games, but I don't think it was his fault. I think his coach got caught cheating in the first Super Bowl. That wasn't him, but the deflated balls and stuff like that. His owner getting caught with stuff. The tuck rule with the Raiders. Now after that rule, they changed it to a fumble because in my opinion, I think at the time the NFL had a problem with the Raiders anyway because of the lawsuits and Al Davis always beat them in court and stuff like that. And I think they just hated the Raiders because Al Davis was still around. And I actually liked Al Davis because he was kind of cool. He didn't care. He was his own person. He wore that damn Raiders jacket. He just did not care. He looked like a car salesman, but he was a cool guy. Some people hated him. Like Jerry Jones. Him and Jerry Jones were best friends. He was best friends with the Steelers organization, the Roonies. So we'll get in that in a minute. So what they're saying about the Super Bowl, it was rigged. There's players coming out. I think Andre Johnson, he used to play for the Texans, is one of them, saying that he used to get a script before the season would start or in game would start, and it would already be scripted of what's going to happen. And there's a couple other players saying it now, and it's becoming, they're saying it's been fixed for a while. And they've been talking about it because, the Super Bowl, Philadelphia, my opinion, got screwed. I think that was a tic-tac call. Was within 5 yards. I'm not an Eagles fan either, guys. Just so everybody knows, I'm not a Chiefs or Eagles fan, but I call it how I see it. I think the Chiefs got away with it. And I think they wanted it that way because they're trying to build another, because Brady's retiring. I think the NFL's helping him, and that's proven already. Do I say as far as like they're doing script? It's kind of hard to do script. Fixed is different than script. That scripted is mean they know what's going to happen. It's just like the WWE. But then there's rumors saying that like the World Entertainment, like when they went to court with the NBA and NFL, they're saying they're entertainment. So if that's true, there's a chance there could be scripted. I don't know if it's that bad. But Vegas is involved in a lot of things, and I think sometimes it's funny how a lot of games become what the point spreads are. Or they'll score, hurry up, and get the points spread there. Vegas has a lot to do with this. Money speaks a lot, guys. We all know that. I know there's something going on. The refs could be calling penalties. I think that does happen. I think that's what happened in the Kansas City games. I think they made sure Kansas City won that Super Bowl. I don't know if I would say scripted is exaggerated at that. It's kind of hard to prove that just because one or two people saying that. We'd have to get the proof on that. I don't know if I would go that far. Fixed is a whole different story. Do they know who they're going to have win the game? That's a possibility. I believe that's been going on for years, though, not just now. I think they wanted Kansas City to win because they want Holmes to become kind of like the new Brady. I know some of you guys who Kansas City fans are, oh, no, dude, come on. Really? I'm sorry. Unless you're a Kansas City fan or you hate the Eagles, you're going to say this. But I have friends who are Eagles fans, or not Eagles fans. They hate the Eagles, or either Cowboys fans, Giants. They're in a division and saying that they got screwed. So, I mean, I'm just being honest. That's just my opinion. I know somebody's going to cry about it because there's too many fans. Just like the argument with Michael Jordan and LeBron James. Okay, this is what people need to realize. That's why I don't say who's the best of all time. I think in their era is a different story. It's just two different kind of eras they were in at the time. Or LeBron, 20 years, so he's been in two different eras. And Michael Jordan was like 15 years, I think, or 16 years, so he was in an era and a half. So pretty much at those times, they were the most dominating players then. Don't care what anybody says. My opinion, Michael Jordan's the greatest of all time. LeBron's second. Even though he scored all these points, he also played more seasons and with different teams, and he had to go with, and that's a whole nother argument. Don't want to get into it. I do believe they wanted the Patriots to win that Super Bowl against the Rams. They caught them cheating, and all they did was cost them a first-round pick and some money. That's why it should be an asterisk. But they're not going to do it, so it is what it is. I think that they pick who they want to win now, or they help. The refs will make sure of it. And sometimes they get it wrong because there's just sometimes they get blown out. You can't. It doesn't matter how many penalties you call. They lose. Interception here. Can't be so obvious. But there's just a lot of questionable calls before that, like with the Bengals game. They kept saying like it was supposed to be second or third down, and like it would go to fourth down, and then we forgot to do some kind of play. Something happened that never really happens, and magically happened twice, and it hasn't happened in years in that game, where it was supposed to be like third or fourth down, and they changed it because they said that the lines weren't right or some camera wasn't right or something. But I just thought it was funny. And then, the penalty at the end, I agree with. But they made sure Kansas City was in that game. And, sorry, it's just my opinion. I'm not just picking on Kansas City saying that they get away with everything, because it's not necessarily true. I'm just saying it. I think they wanted them to win the Super Bowl. And they wanted the Eagles to be there against them. So the Eagles, in both of their playoff games, except the 49ers game, they hurt the quarterback. He was done. There was nothing they could do. I think they gave Eagles a pass that shouldn't have counted, where he caught that one. It was a touchdown, and they didn't review it, and they should have, and it would have been incomplete. I agree with that. I think they helped on that one. See, I'm saying something about the Eagles. So I think they made sure the Eagles got in the playoffs. I mean, not in the playoffs, in the Super Bowl. It was going to make a lot of money. Yeah, the two best teams of this year. They both were 16-3. They both had byes. They're both the number one seed in their division. So that's what's going to happen when they have the best teams. They wanted it that way. I just a lot of things you see now in football, like last year when all these games were so close and coming back with all these comebacks. I just think they want fans to watch it more, and they're getting a lot more ratings now in the playoffs. And they were before, because the playoffs were boring because teams were just getting blown out. I think that they don't set certain situations up, but they set things up so teams will fail. It's kind of funny. I don't know. You watch it with the Patriots Super Bowl win when they came back against Atlanta, who was up 28-3 at the time or something. They were up by 25 points and ended up losing the Super Bowl. I'm sorry. How are you just going to not play anymore after just one more quarter? The Falcons played like they were down by 25 points. And people are going to say, look what happened with Ryan. Ryan choked like against the Minnesota this year. But in fairness in that game is Jonathan Taylor got hurt in the beginning of the game. If he would have got hurt, they wouldn't have won that game. I'm just sorry. He's just one of the best running backs in the league. He went down. So Matt Ryan pretty much still was unacceptable. It wasn't just Matt Ryan. The defense gave up 39 points because they ended up being 39-36, I think, in overtime or something like that. 36-33, I forget. But you blow a 33-point lead, there's no excuse for that. Bad coaching. I think it was they got helped a lot. But I think that's the way they wanted it, bro. And that's what I've been saying, just like with that Patriots Super Bowl. Nothing against the Patriots. They're a great team. I just think that they get help. They not no more because Brady's no longer there. And he was in Tampa Bay, and then he won a Super Bowl that year with his team. Just like when Baltimore was blowing out, I think they were blowing out the 49ers years ago. And then they had that power outage for over an hour and a half. I think they were up to like 28-31-3 or something. And then the 49ers came back and almost won the game. And Baltimore ended up winning by like 3 points or something. But I think they did that. I'm sorry. I thought it was funny how all of a sudden, since the lights went out, they came back. I think some things are done for purpose. They want certain teams to win or come back to make it more interesting. The Super Bowl was tanking a couple years ago. No one was really watching. I mean, people still watch it, but it wasn't getting the ratings it's getting now. And like I said, there's a possibility they're doing this for purpose, like fixing games, making sure certain teams win. Scripted, I don't know. That's kind of hard to script a game. you could script it to a point, but like basketball, you probably could still, but you still can't make the ball go in the hoop. You can get help. I think that's another thing that yes, I think they have certain teams that they want to win. Just like I hate to say it, the Lakers for somehow get their players. It doesn't matter if it's how they do it. They always find a way to get who they want. And I think there's stuff that's a whole nother story to get into. But and I'm not a Lakers fan, but I'm just saying the truth. It always magically the Lakers get somebody they want, or they win, and I because they're popular. They sell a lot of stuff. They make a lot of money. Just like the Cowboys. They haven't made the playoffs, but 5 times in 28 years, 29 years, won 5 games, I think it is. And they're still popular because they're just a popular name. They used to be good in the 90s and the 80s and 70s. They were a good team. I'm not a fan of the Cowboys, but back then they were great teams. Michael Irvin, Troy Aikman, Emmett Smith, Deion Sanders. The team was stacked, dude. Michael Irvin, they were stacked. There's nothing you could say. But now, not so much. And I think the NFL doesn't like them. I'm just going to be honest. I think they're kind of like on that level with the Raiders. Not as bad because of Jerry Jones. I think that's a lot of it. And their fan base isn't the best. But, I don't hate on the team. I think they have some good players. They had a good team this year. They just couldn't get it done again. And that's just what happens. But a lot of people, they hate the Cowboys. And sometimes, dude, I've watched some games, and even though I'm not a fan, I do see they have screwed the Cowboys. Like that game with Green Bay when Terrell Owens caught that ball, that was a catch. Right? Even though I did want Green Bay to win, that was a catch. They screwed Dallas, and that's me coming out. And I think that was done for purpose. Packers went on to win the Super Bowl that year and play us, the Steelers, and they beat us. Was an accident. That's just my opinion. So, just truth. That's my opinion, though. Somebody's going to say, you hate these teams. No, I don't. I'm just backing Dallas, and I can't stand Dallas. I'm just backing them up because of what I've seen. Scripting's hard, though. I don't think it's 100% scripted. If it is, there's just certain times they know what to do. It is kind of funny how something happens when they getting ready to say it. Oh, he hasn't missed a field goal in 46 tries, and he misses it. Or an extra point. Or he hasn't fumbled the ball, and he fumbles it in some weird way that doesn't look like he fumbled it. It was done for purpose. So, it could be. I don't want to say that. That's just my opinion. I'm going to go, I don't know. I'm not going to say it's probably rigged. I'm not saying rigged. I mean, scripted. I will say there is some rigging going on. I think that happens a lot. I think it's like 50-50 on that, if it's rigged or not. Scripted, that's like 30%, I think. Maybe there's a possibility. I don't know. I don't want to say yes or no. That one's hard to prove that. I don't know what you guys think. Tell us what you guys think. And don't be biased because you I've been a fan of the Dallas Cowboys for 40 years. Or I've been a fan of the Cincinnati Bengals for 35 years. Be objective and don't say it because you're your favorite player. This is what the problem is. I'm sorry. I'm a fan of every sports. The Steelers don't have the greatest players of all time. They have some of them, but not the greatest. There's better players on other teams. I'm not going to say that. That's you being a fanatic and saying, oh, well, Brett Favre was the greatest quarterback, even though he wasn't, just because you thought that because that was your favorite player. No, be objective and tell the truth what you guys think. I'm just using an example there, guys. But I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Tell us what you think. We would always like to hear your comments. I have an opinion on it. I think there was some things going on. Especially the Super playoffs, I kind of noticed some things that they helped other teams. And there's all these teams like Buffalo, Minnesota, the Lions. They always find a way to lose. Even when they could be up by 20 points and they find a way to lose. And Buffalo's a good team. And so are the Vikings and Eagles. The Lions actually had a good team this year. They just missed the playoffs. But they find a way to blow it. Minnesota, the Falcons is another one. The Bills. Sorry, guys. I'm just saying it. I'm just being a fan. But let me know what you guys think. And we love you guys.
Thank you, brother. Okay. Is the NFL rigged? That's the question. I tend to think so. And here's why. I first started thinking this way many, 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 many moons ago, 22 years ago. Back, I'm sure everybody watching can remember, if you're old enough, 9/11, 2001. When that happened, it changed a lot for a lot of people. It's one of those moments in time, like the Kennedy assassination was, where everybody kind of can remember where they were when they heard the news of what was going on. Some of us watched it on TV. Some of us were in the locations and watched it in person. Later on that year, after 9/11 had happened, when the Super Bowl came around, it just didn't feel right to me. Because here you had the New England Patriots that were going to the Super Bowl. And something in my brain just kind of said, wow, wouldn't that be amazing if the Patriots won the Super Bowl? Because this is a moment where the country has to come together, where everybody's hurting. And you want that patriotic feeling going on in the country. You want everybody to love America and to work with their fellow man and woman and all that kind of jazz, right? So wouldn't that be amazing? What a stroke of luck if that actually happened and the Patriots won the Super Bowl. Now, this was before the Patriots were the Patriots. You know, this was before the dynasty, before they were unbeatable, all that kind of stuff. And it happened. And I just remember at that moment, I was happy that they won. Not because I'm a Patriots fan, just because, like I said, at that moment, man, the Patriots, you know? And I'm a patriot. I love my country. And the fact that a team called the Patriots won the Super Bowl was awesome. I was stoked. But there was that part of my brain that I often get that kind of said, wait a minute, something's off about this. Something just ain't right. And it kind of made me look at this game that I loved in a new way. I started noticing things that I had never noticed before. I'd notice, you know, there was always bad calls, but I'd notice bad calls in strategic places and games that were obvious bad calls that anybody can see is the wrong call to make. But yet the call is made. And all of a sudden, the team that you thought was going to win ends up losing because of that call. It's happened over and over and over again. I'm not going to go into specific dates and times and all that kind of stuff. I'm just telling you an overall feel that I had and my progression in this. So I started noticing a lot of stuff like that was happening. You'd have it at least a couple times a season where there would be calls that would get a team further along in the playoffs that were done for. And it was just kind of weird to me. And I had that alarm go off again, that BS detector that I have, where I can kind of smell when something ain't right. You know, and I just had that feeling that, man, something is not right here. This is not normal. Something's up, you know. And what cemented this for me, let's get to that. There was a lot of times of that kind of stuff happening. But believe it or not, what cemented this for me was another tragedy. Hurricane Katrina. Now, everybody that was alive at that time period remembers Hurricane Katrina and the absolute devastation that it brought. I mean, I'm sure you can all remember watching it on TV as New Orleans was underwater. And all these families were just displaced, man. They had nowhere to go. A lot of them went to Houston and lived in like trailers, basically, that they provided for them because they had nowhere to go. Their entire city was destroyed just about. And many people's homes were absolutely destroyed. They weren't salvageable. They were just too damaged. So when that happened, I remember part of my head was like, the thought came into my brain was, man, watch. I bet you the New Orleans Saints are going to win a Super Bowl this year because Hurricane Katrina happened. And it was a very suspicious and very pessimistic thought to have. And it came out of nowhere. I hold no ill will towards the New Orleans Saints. I don't give a damn about them one way or the other. But it was there, man. It popped into my head that, watch, this is going to happen because Katrina happened, they're going to want a feel-good story. And sure enough, New Orleans Saints, which is a team that for my entire memory of football was garbage. I don't ever remember them having a good team. Like throughout my entire life, they sucked. And then all of a sudden, they go to Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl. Now, as I said in the very beginning of the show before Old Boy went, I am not the sports fan that Old Boy is. So there might be a lot of details that I don't know about different teams. There might be people out there who are really, really well-versed in football and know all the stats and say, oh, well, James, they had this player, and this player. So, hey, okay, man, I'm not going to argue with you because I don't know. All I know is that it's awful funny how every time something like that happens and you need that feel-good moment, that's a team that wins the Super Bowl. I mean, those two, I don't even have to really go on because those two right there, the odds against both of those happening and being the team that the country needed to win at that moment, the odds are probably astronomical. So just those two, to me, prove that there's something funny going on. Okay? Now, there's that part of your brain that whenever stuff like this happens, there's that part of your brain that says, come on, man. Are you serious? Do you really think that they would be able to have the entire NFL, every team, every player, go along with this vast conspiracy in order to predetermine who wins? Well, that is a consideration. But as a lifelong wrestling fan, okay, I remember watching Hulk Hogan win the title from the Iron Sheik in Madison Square Garden. I'm an old guy. So I've been a fan of what was the WWF, now is the WWE, since way back then. Okay, I remember before Hogan won the title. I remember before the Sheik had the title when he won it off Bob Backlund. I'm a lifelong wrestling fan. Now, back in my childhood when we used to watch wrestling was real. That's what we thought. Now, it wasn't, right? But kayfabe, the wrestlers kept something called kayfabe, which is, it's an old carny term that essentially means that they're going to pretend that this stuff is real and they're going to defend that secret with their lives. Now, you had, at that time, it wasn't just WWE and WCW and AEW now, or TNA or whoever, right? You had tons of different wrestling organizations. Everything was broken up into territories. So each little area of the country would have their own territory. And there was one major wrestling organization in that territory, and probably a couple small ones as well. And that went nationwide. And then you had wrestling going on in Japan as well. So you had, on more than just this continent, you had wrestling. And that's a lot of people that is involved in wrestling, that are involved in the business of wrestling, the promoters, the different crew people and all that stuff. Somehow they managed to all keep that secret, that wrestling was real, right? That's what they told everybody. And they would fight you if you said that it wasn't. And I'm glad for kayfabe because growing up, I almost idolized Hulk Hogan. I remember Hulk Hogan going into matches and, train, say your prayers, take your vitamins, dude. Love America. And it was a great role model, and just watching him go in against all odds and overcome things made you feel as a little kid that, man, I can do anything. Look, here's a man who has taken on this unbelievable challenge, rising to it and conquering. If he can do it, if I work hard enough, that means I can do it. Now, you might laugh at me and say, man, wrestling's fake. That's cool. It's not your thing. It's not your thing, man. I'm not telling you got to like what I like. But I'm just telling you that wrestling had a major influence in my life. I loved it. It was one of the few things that, growing up military and living all over the world my entire life, it's one of the few things that in other countries I would get to watch as well. I got to watch some football, the Thanksgiving game and the Super Bowl usually, and I would get to watch wrestling. And then they always had I Love Lucy and Bonanza as well. So I've watched those shows a lot as well. But the reason I bring up wrestling is because that is a massive organization, okay? At the time, a sport. It was covered on the sports section of the news, okay? So people thought and recognized it as a sport at that time. And they were able to keep that secret throughout multiple generations. It wasn't until Vince McMahon decided, to hell with this, we're just going to tell everybody that it's not real so that we can really get crazy with it and do whatever we want. That's when kayfabe went away and people started admitting that it was scripted. Now, I'm not going to say wrestling is fake, okay, because I don't like it when people say that, and here's why. Yes, it's scripted. Yes, it's predetermined who's going to win. Yes, the two wrestlers go over in the ring a lot of times what they're going to do next. But it does take a lot of athletic ability, and those guys put their bodies on the line. There's real lifelong injuries that happen to those guys. They go through a lot of pain and suffering for our entertainment. You know, so to say it's fake, I don't think it's fair. Scripted, yes. Absolutely, it's scripted. I had that same feeling about the NFL, man. And it went all the way back to 9/11, like I said. And it just, no matter what I did, I could not shake that feeling that this is scripted. There's something off here, man. It's rigged. There's no way that this keeps happening to where the team that would be the perfect storyline always wins. Because that's not life, man. That doesn't happen in real life. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but many times in my life, there's been moments where I feel like I'm Rocky Balboa, you know, and I'm making the comeback, and I'm doing the training montage, and I'm gonna conquer this mountain, man. I'm gonna do great. And then you get to the moment and it all falls apart, and you fail miserably. I failed a lot in my life, and that's okay, because I'm not afraid of failure. Failure makes you stronger. It makes you better. Many of the greatest men in history have failed way more than they succeeded. Pretty much every successful person that has ever been great has failed a bunch of times first. Because you got to learn those lessons, man. You got to figure out what you're doing wrong and how to fix it and how to be better. And you keep sharpening that sword until finally you can slice through anything. You know, so failure is not a bad thing. Failure is a learning process. And I've failed a lot, but that's life. That's real life. So when you have a sport that it always seems like the Cinderella story comes true and it's the perfect fairy tale ending, that's BS, man. I call BS on it. There's no way that's real. Now, is it entirely scripted? Or is it rigged? Old boy brought up a very good point that there's a difference between the two. I don't believe it's entirely scripted because I don't think it would be possible to entirely script every play of every game. Because you throw the ball, who knows the guy's going to catch it or not? How do you know that throw is always going to be the perfect throw? You know, all it takes is one mistake. You throw the pass, it hits him in the hands, and he drops it. I played football for many years, okay? I played. So I know that stuff happens. I know that sometimes no matter how good you are and no matter how prepared you are, just that minute temporary lapse of concentration, you start to run before you actually have the ball, and it falls right out of your hands. So all it would take is something like that to happen. And then all of a sudden, your script is screwed because now it's changed. You gotta react on the fly. So I don't think it's scripted 100%. But I think that they know the teams that are gonna be in the playoffs. I think they know the teams that are gonna be in the Super Bowl, and I think they've already chosen the winner. Now, at what point does that happen? I would say probably there's a decision made before the season. And if something happens like Katrina or 9/11, where they had to switch it up with the Patriots and then with the Saints, I think probably they just adjust on the fly, you know, and they say, all right, we got this thing, man. We got to go Patriots now. So how are we going to do this so that they can be in the Super Bowl and they can win it all? And I honestly believe that that's what happens. Now, I mentioned earlier that part of the struggle for me was trying to figure out if that would be possible with that many people. I kind of covered the wrestling thing where they kept it secret for so long. No reason the NFL couldn't. And then it comes down to character. Do you believe that the NFL, all the different leaders, owners, coaches, all those people, do you believe that they would do that? Well, human nature, man, people sell out their own family for money. That's just the truth of it. People do a lot of underhanded stuff for money. And as far as the leadership of the NFL, I have zero respect for those punks. Zero. I mentioned I don't watch the NFL anymore. Now, I was a guy that watched every game for most of my life. I love football. I absolutely love football. But when they started kneeling for the anthem, I couldn't get behind that. Now, you might say, well, that's just one guy, and he's trying to make a political statement about police brutality or whatever crap he's trying to do, right? I don't care. I don't give a damn. You don't disrespect that flag. You don't disrespect that anthem that men have died for. You don't do it. Now, maybe it's the fact that I grew up military. Maybe it's the fact that I love this country so much. That don't fly with me. You're not going to disrespect the flag in front of me. I will not support you. And I'm liable to whoop your ass if we're face to face. And that's just real talk. So when that started happening, when the NFL supported that, and they didn't put an end to it immediately, and they supported it and got behind it, I'm out. I haven't watched a game since. I am out. I will never watch another NFL game, ever. I'm out. Not doing it. Now, I do love football. And I have been watching recently, this year, I've been watching the XFL. The XFL is pretty damn cool for you guys that haven't checked it out. And I'm not saying you got to give up NFL if you don't want to. But even if you don't give up the NFL, you should probably check out the XFL because it is pretty damn neat. They got a lot of different rules. Like the extra points don't exist in the XFL. You don't kick an extra point for 1 point. In the NFL, you can either kick an extra point or go for a 2-point conversion. In the XFL, it's all conversions. There's no kicking an extra point. You can either do it 1 point, 2 point, or 3 point, depending on where you want to be on the field. I think like the 3 point is like at the 10, the 2 might be at the 5, and the 1 point might be at like the 2.5 or something like that. I'm not sure the exact yardage, but it's something around those lines. They got several rules like that are a little bit different, and it's a really exciting and fast-paced game, and it's really fun to watch. I hope that they are successful. I hope that enough people watch it that they continue doing it because it's really nice to be able to watch football again because I do really enjoy it. But like I said, I'm not going to support somebody who's disrespecting my country. I'm just not doing it. Now, the reason I brought all that up is not to get on some soapbox and make a political rant for you guys. The reason I brought it up is because we asked the question, do I think that the leadership of the NFL is capable of rigging the season? Do I think that they're the kind of people that have zero character that are willing to do something like that? Yes, I do. Simply because of the fact that they went along with disrespecting the anthem. That shows no character to me. That shows and proves, and they've proven in many different ways since then, that they are definitely part of the liberal push in America, okay? So let's take that bit of information once again, not a political statement, just looking at facts. If they are liberal biased people, right, that means they support one side of the political aisle. So let's look at what that one side of the political aisle does. They have done nothing but lie to us for years. They lied about the mask. They lied about the Fauci ouchie. They lied about COVID. They lied about Trump. So many times I can't even... The PP tape. They lied about that. Both impeachment hoaxes. They lied about both of those. Okay? Every single... The Stormy Daniels thing. They lied about that. Jesse Smollett. They lied about that. The border. Remember the border? Where the border guards had the reins to the horse in his hands and they tried to pretend that he had a whip and was whipping immigrants as they came over? That nonsense? You remember that crap? They lied about that. The NASCAR noose. You remember that? They lied about that. Over and over and over. Every one of these police shootings they've lied about. Then when you actually go back and you look at the damn evidence, the story that the media told you is not even close to true. Lies. All they do is lie. So if you are part of that liberal ideology and you support those lies, then what's to make me think that you're not above lying to your audience, that you're not above rigging games? Now, some of you might not like that. Some of you, there's people in this country that everything's got to be political for them. They got to take every little thing and they got to make it into a political argument. But truth is truth. Nothing I have said here tonight is false. Every one of those things I said they lied about it. You can look it up. It's true. It's true, and it's just as clear as the nose on your face if you actually do your research and look it up. Now, am I saying that that means that the Democrat Party is garbage? Yes, the Democrat Party is garbage. Now, does that mean that the Republican Party is high and mighty and great? No. 99% of the Republican Party, also garbage. That's what people don't understand. See, just because I point out the crap that these idiots on the left are doing, doesn't mean that I'm blind to the crap that the idiots on the right are doing. Because they're no good either. Most of them. Now, there are some that are okay. But there's a whole lot that aren't. Okay? I would say 95, and I've said this on this show before, 95%, at least 95%, of all elected officials on a national level in Congress are dirty. And that's true. And we're learning that more and more every day. The problem is that the media, and this ties in with the NFL thing. Okay, I'm not going off on a rant here. All of this is going to make sense. The media tries to give you binary choices. They say, either you're a wacko liberal or you're a racist Republican, right? When neither one of those things are true. Liberals aren't wacko. Okay, they're not crazy. They're stupid. A lot of them are very stupid. But they're not crazy. They're just uninformed. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. Most of them. On the upper level, they're also not wacko. They're just evil. Because they're trying to destroy your country. They're trying to destroy your life. The Republicans, the overwhelming majority of the Republican voters are not racist, man. They're just not. Stop it with that nonsense. It's not true. What Republicans are, on the upper levels, a lot of them are corporate sellouts. A lot of those guys, man, they're bought and paid for by one, corporations, and two, China. But see, the thing is, the other side, who you think are the champions of the people, they're the same. They're bought and paid for by corporations and China. That's just the truth. They're both garbage. But the media gives us a binary choice. Right or left. No middle road. You can't have a viable third-party candidate in this country. You just can't. The closest we ever got was Ross Perot. I actually worked on Perot's campaign when he ran for president. And what killed him was he quit. He let the media get to him and he quit. And then he came back. But once he quit, he lost a lot of his people because people just said, you know what, man, if you can't tough it out, I'm not gonna back you. Now, he didn't have the amount of vote it would have taken to get elected president anyway. I mean, hell, Teddy Roosevelt tried to run as a third party candidate because he said he wasn't going to run for a third term. And then he decided he wanted to run for a third term, but the Republicans were going to nominate somebody else. So he said, you know what? I'm going to run as a third party candidate. So he started what was called the Bull Moose Party. And Teddy Roosevelt, who at the time was one of the most popular presidents we've ever had, ever. People loved that man. He couldn't do it as a third party candidate. The rules are stacked against you. It's almost impossible. So they make sure that you have this binary choice. And they lie to you to keep you from knowing the truth. They distract you with shiny things. Oh, they're releasing information about this, this, and this that you wanted to know about for so long. Hey, look, UFOs. Hey, look, this thing, right? They always distract you and keep you from actually seeing what it is you should be looking at. Same thing as a magician does, like an illusionist. They get you looking over here, and then while you're looking over here, the real magic's happening over here. Same thing our government does. Same thing the media does. There's a lot of money at stake with government and with the NFL. A lot of advertising dollars. There's a lot of money generated. That's why governments in different states and different cities will pay taxpayer money to build stadiums for these teams. The teams aren't paying for the stadium. The taxpayers of that city are, and that state are, paying for that stadium so that that team will come there and have a free stadium. Because they know that that's going to generate a ton of revenue for the state. And it's going to generate a ton of revenue for the TV stations through advertising dollars when they air those games, for the news when they're covering those games. It's all about money, man. It always is. So would the media be complicit in covering up the fact that the NFL is rigged? 100%. Why wouldn't they? All they do is lie to you. I went down a list. Every one of those things that I said earlier, the media lied about to our faces. They never came out and said, hey guys, yeah, we lied about that. We were wrong. Never. They just pretend like it never happened and they move right on to the next lie. All of a sudden you think they're above lying about this? Like they're going to say, oh, yeah, I know we lied about all of this big, giant, massive amount of stuff over here. We lied about all of that. But this one little thing over here, no, we're telling the truth about that. You can trust us. BS. Almost had to hit a dump button there. Almost got naughty. BS. I don't trust a damn thing the media says, ever. Unless I can verify it myself, unless I can see the source documents and prove it, I don't believe you. Because you've done nothing but lie over and over and over again to me and to all of us. I would say that if you're listening to this show, and I don't mean any disrespect, so please don't take this as an insult. But if you're listening to this right now, and you still believe anything that the damn news is telling you, why? What's going on in your brain? Are your neurons not working? Is it synapses not happening? What's going on? Are you okay? Do you need help? Blink twice if you're being held hostage. Why would you believe these people? They have lied over and over and over and over and over again. But yet somehow this time's going to be different? I mean, the same thing in the paranormal field, man. In the paranormal field, you got all these ghost shows, right? And some of them, I'm not going to mention any names, and I'm not trying to start any trouble with nobody. I'm not that kind of guy. But some of them have been caught faking stuff. Like literally caught. Where they say, hey, wait a minute. That ball didn't roll down there. I just saw you kick it. Well, that's not some paranormal knock that happened. You were just beating on the wall. I just watched you do it. Right? They've been caught faking. But yet people still watch because maybe they won't be faking next time. I don't understand that. And it's the same mindset. I don't get it. Why would you think that they're not going to lie to you when they've already lied to you over and over and over and over and over again? Now, some people that are really pessimistic say, well, James, you got to understand, brother. They're politicians, man. Politicians lie. It's part of it. You just got to go into it knowing that they're going to lie to you. What kind of insane thinking is that? We're supposed to accept that the people that we're electing, the people that we're paying to represent us in government are going to lie to us and steal money and just be terrible. We're just supposed to accept that? I don't know. I don't accept it. We got to do better. We got to do better as a people. We got to do better. First step, stop listening to these idiots. Stop believing everything they say. They're lying to you. We got to come together as brothers and sisters, and we got to stop this nonsense. So there's my rant, if you all wanted one. NFL, I think they're absolutely rigged. I don't think it's scripted to the individual play. I don't think that's possible. But I think that they absolutely know who's going to win. And they absolutely plan out who's going to win. Either whatever is going to make the best story to get the most people to watch. Because remember, it's about the money. It's what it's always about. Great storylines equal great ratings. If you got a great storyline, people are going to tune in to watch it. That means more money. I think that's literally as easy as it is, man. That's what it boils down to, is the cash. As it always does. So my ruling on it, yes. I think the NFL is absolutely rigged. Yes, I think that it is scripted to a point as far as knowing who's going to win. I do not think that it's scripted to the individual play. That's just my feeling on it, man. And whether you believe that or not, as always, 100% up to you. Make up your own mind. That's what we always say. That's what we always mean. You know, I'm going to always tell you the truth here, man. I'm always going to tell you how I feel. And you might not like it sometimes. And sometimes you might love it. And that's cool. That's cool either way. Because I'm a human being. And I have my own thoughts, my own feelings, my own reasoning on things. You are also a human being. And you have the right to make up your own mind. So I've told you what I thought about it. Old boy told me what he thought about it. And down below this video, down here in the comment box, you can tell us what you feel about it. If you believe that it's rigged or if you think that we're crazy. Whatever. Doesn't matter to me either way. Make up your own mind. And let me know what you think. I always love to hear it. Love you guys. Old boy, go ahead with your shout outs, brother.
I hope you guys enjoyed this show tonight. It's pretty interesting. Another conspiracy theory that a lot of people are talking about right now. If you like what you heard on ParaX Radio, we're on every Sunday nights at 9 Pacific, 12 Eastern. And the Best Of show is on 5 Eastern, 8 Pacific, Tuesday nights. If you guys want to get merchandise, James will tell you where to go. Shirts, hats, COVID masks, all kinds of cool stuff. You guys want to follow us on YouTube, listen to all our shows, go to James Hershey's YouTube page and subscribe, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. And like always, please leave your comments. Tell us what you think. But be courteous and don't go out with crazy stuff that have nothing to do with the topics. We've had that a couple times. We'll just block you. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. It's almost March, guys. And it's snowing off and on here. Crazy you guys want to hear it in California. So just wanted to let you guys know. I love you guys. Misfits, Sugar Lilies, Monster Lovers, Demon Hunters. I love you. And blessed be it. Have a good night, guys.
Thank you, brother. I want to thank y'all for hanging out with us again tonight. I hope that you enjoyed the show. Hope that you enjoyed the little rant we went on and all that kind of stuff. These shows are fun to do. You know, I'd like to get into more different topics than what we ordinarily cover sometimes, you know. It's great to do the paranormal shows, and it's great to do the history shows, and some of these conspiracy shows, and that's what this one was tonight, was covering the conspiracy theory of whether or not the NFL is rigged. And sometimes when we get into the conspiracy theory shows, the opinions get out there a little bit sometimes, and that's okay. That's okay because it's part of the fun. But in this country, we need to all realize that we can disagree without being disagreeable. Just because you don't agree with me and I don't agree with you on something doesn't mean that I hate you. Doesn't mean that you're a garbage person. Now, when you talk politics and when you talk religion, those are two things that they always tell you never talk about because people get up in their feelings about it. And it's true. It's absolutely true. I've had people when I've talked politics before, and even when I've talked religion with them before, that they get up in their feels a little bit. And even though I can prove 100% that I'm right about something, I can show them the evidence and prove that it's true. For whatever reason, they just do not acknowledge it. They just don't see it. And I don't understand why. But that's just the reality of the situation. So let me know down in the comments section what you guys think. If the NFL is rigged, scripted, or if it's all in the up and up and all of this is just a bunch of hooey. I love that word, hooey. Let me know. Let me know what you think. I'll be eager to see it and find out what's going on. If there's anything that you guys would like us to cover, any shows that we haven't done yet that is a subject that you think would be interesting to talk about, let us know. You can either leave it here in the comment section on YouTube when this video hits YouTube, or you can message either me or Old Boy on Facebook. That's the best way to get a hold of us because that's where we usually are. I'm also on Truth Social. If you want to message me over there, I go there quite a bit. Truth Social is a cool site, but it hasn't really got built up enough yet. There's a lot of people that are on it, but not a lot of people that are on your normal friends list, like on Facebook, have made the move. So I'm at both places. I'm also on Twitter and Instagram and all over the place too, but I barely ever check those. So if you want to message me and let me know a show idea, or you want to message Old Boy, very best place to do it is either in the comments here on YouTube or on Facebook. And if you're on True Social and you've left Facebook and all that, cool. I'm also on True Social. Just look me up. I don't know how hard I'll be to find. I'm just me, my name. But I don't know because I don't really spend a lot of time there yet. I go there a decent amount, but I'm not there all the time. So I haven't really put any effort into actually building up friends and all that kind of stuff on True Social yet. But I'm there too. So if you want to message me and give me a show idea that you guys want us to do, awesome. Thank you once again for watching. Now for some shameless plugs real quick before we go. The YouTube channel is youtube.com/James Hershey Jr. Please go, subscribe, watch the videos, enjoy them. Everything's there. Staring, tales, paranormal news, all kinds of stuff. And it's all 100% free. Subscribe, hit the little notification bell, all that jazz, and you can see everything. It's all there. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of videos. Lots of them. The merchandise store, the link to that is in the description box of every video on YouTube. So if you want to get merch and support the show that way and everything, go to the description box on the YouTube video, click the link, and that takes you to the store. Thank you guys once again for tuning in. We love you. We appreciate you. And we'll catch you on the next one. Till we speak to you again. Love many, trust few, and do harm to none. God loves you, and so do we. Bye-bye.